So in this video, we are going to discuss about interest rate risk. So we'll first look at what is an interest rate risk for a company. Interest rate risk relates the sensitivity of profit and cash flows to the changes in the interest rate risk. So what happens is for even a small change, assume that a company has issued a lot of debt and they're also paying a lot of interest. So even for a small change in the interest rate, the company has to pay a very high amount or a lower amount than the normal one, and that leads to sensitivity of profit. We'll take an example of two companies, company A and company B. We'll take profit before interest and tax as 100 here, again as 100 for this company, and the interest is 50 for this company, and it's only like 10 for this company. So the profit before tax would be 50 for this and 90 for this company. Assume the interest rate is going to change. Okay, so interest is going to change by 10% for both the companies. So how much it's going to rise by 10%? So the 100 will be the same, but the interest will become 55 here, and the profit will fall to 45. For this company, it will be 100. If the interest rises by 10%, it will be 11 here, and the profit will be still 89. If you see the difference here, the difference is 5 rupees here, and it is only like 1 rupee here. So what happens is, this tells that the company A has a high amount of interest rate risk. Interest rate risk is faced by companies with floating and fixed rate debt. So it doesn't matter whether the company has a fixed rate debentures or a floating rate debentures. Okay, any debt that the company has will lead to interest rate risk. Interest rate risk is a risk of change in the interest rates and the effect that this will have on profits and cash flows. This type of risk is the greatest for organizations with large amounts of assets that yield interest or liabilities on which interest is payable. So it is not only company that is like issuing a lot of debentures that are going to be affected by interest rate risk. It is also companies which have a large amount of assets that yield interest. So assume that a company has a lot of reserves, and all these reserves are being like deposited in debentures or bonds. So even a change in that interest rate, what would happen? It will affect the income pattern of the company here. So it's not only the company which has debt in the terms of bonds. Okay, it is also a company which has investment in terms of bonds. Okay, so it affects both kind of companies. Banks and investment institutions are heavily exposed to interest rate risk, but also companies with large borrowings. So it also affects companies who invest, also who borrow. So it affects both kinds of companies. So that's about the interest rate risk. So now we look at what is a floating interest rate debt. The most common form of interest rate risk faced by a non-bank company is the volatility of cash flows associated with the high proportion of floating rate interest debt. So for again, we'll take two companies. So we take company A and we take company B. So both companies have a profit before interest and tax of 100 and 100, and the interest rate for this company. So this company has issued a floating rate interest. That is, the floating rate usually keeps changing from year to year. So they have around they have issued a 100 rupee bond, and they are going to pay something like 10% out of it. So 10 rupees is the interest here, and the profit before tax works around 90. So this company B, has issued fixed rate of loan. So that means they also are going to pay 10% of interest. So that also comes to 10. So they also have the same PBT of 90. See, the problem arises when the interest rate is going to change. In a floating interest rate, the interest rate is periodically reset. For example, once in a year, once in 6 months, or once in 3 months. So what would happen is, even though the company earns 100, the interest might change to from 10% it might go to even 11%. So what happens is this might become 11 and the profit will become 89. For a company B, as it is the same fixed rate, whatever is going to be changing in the floating rate will not affect the fixed rate. So it will have the same 10. So what would happen is the 90 will always be 90. But here in a floating interest rate, the interest rate will keep changing and it might become even to 89. It's not that it will go to the worst part. It might even become better. For example, the interest rate might also fall in floating interest. So it can also become 9. So what would happen is now when the interest rate falls, the company will be earning a little bit higher. So which one is better? Company A has a fluctuating interest rate. Company B has a fixed interest rate. Fixed interest rate gives you a calmness because you know like what is going to happen. You are going to pay for example 10% as the interest for the next 5 years also. But in floating rate, you're going to pay a different rate for even a 5-year loan. So every year, if the interest is going to be reset, you're going to pay a different amount of interest. If it's going to become 9, you are happy, but if it becomes 11%, you have to worry. So that's about the floating interest rate. Interest rates are periodically reset at every 3, 6 or 12 months. So floating rate interest rate has to be like periodically reset. So once in every 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, the rate would be like changed and a new rate would be issued. The company which has borrowed has to pay the new interest rate only. Interest rates on this debt will rise and fall in line with changes in a reference interest rate, such as the bank's rate or the London Interbank Offered Rate, which is called as the LIBOR. So the periodical resetted floating rate depends upon some other reference rate called as the LIBOR rate. The specific interest rate for every company depends upon its risk profile. Specific interest rate equals to the reference interest rates, that's the LIBOR, plus or minus the company's risk. For example, if company A borrows loan, they have to pay LIBOR interest, which is a general interest, plus the company specific risk also. So for example, LIBOR might be like 10% and the company specific risk can be like 5%. So together it will be 15%. But if company B is going to borrow a LIBOR based loan, the LIBOR will be the same 10%, but the company specific risk can be like 2%. So the interest rate for each and every company in floating rate will differ depending upon the company's risk nature. So now we look at what is a fixed interest rate debt. A company with a high proportion of fixed interest rate debt has a commitment to fixed interest rate payments. So you might think that a company which has a fixed interest rate is much more calm, is much more safe when compared to a company which is like having a floating interest rate. The answer is not like that. Even if a company has a fixed interest rate debt, still it faces a lot of risk. For example, we'll take like again two companies. So company A, which is our company, and our competitor whose company B. Okay, so again we'll have the same PBIT. We have the PBIT of 100, and then we'll have the interest. So our company, what they do is they have a fixed interest rate. They have a fixed interest rate of 10% on 100. So they're going to pay 10 rupees, whatever is going to happen. So our company is going to have 90 rupees as the PBT. But if you take our competitor company, they are going to pay interest, but on a floating terms. So on floating terms, they pay 10% on 100. So they are also like us, PBT of 90. So what is the problem if you're going to pay a fixed interest? The problem does not occur from our side, but our competitor's side. Assume the floating rate interest is moving from 110% to around some 8%. What would happen? The interest they pay will not be 10, it will become 8. The profit that they will earn will become 92. So again, what is the problem here? The problem is the company now earns 2 rupees extra when compared to us. So again, what is the problem? The problem is this 2 rupee income that they get, they might give this 2 rupee as discount to the customer. So effectively, if they give the 2 rupees to the customer as a discount, the company will earn only 90. It's the same 90 as what we had. Okay, but what they have in addition to us is their selling price would have been reduced. Their selling price is effectively reduced by 2. So so what would happen is customers will move away from us to them. Okay, but even though this is not like permanently like possible, but because the floating interest rate will keep on changing, it might even go to from 8% to 11%. At that time we'll have a competitive edge over them. But assuming that the interest rate moves like this, we have a fixed interest rate of 10%, and they have also starting at 10%, but over a period of years the floating rate falls down. Okay, it starts at 10% but falls to something like 5%. So when compared to company A, company B gets an advantage over a period of 5 years. So that is a major problem for the company here, because the competitor B has a floating interest rate and the interest rate over a period of time falls down, but we are now stuck with the fixed rate commitment where we have to pay 10% irrespective of whatever happens to the floating interest rate. So the fixed interest rate is also a kind of problem, but it is not a direct problem to a company, it is only an indirect problem to the company. If interest rates fall sharply, the company will suffer from a loss of competitive advantage compared with companies using floating in rate borrowing, whose interest costs and the cost of capital will fall. So if an interest rate falls very sharply, it doesn't hurt us because we are already in, it will not benefit us because we are already in fixed interest rate, but it will lead us to a loss of competitiveness because that company or competitor, his interest cost falls and his cost of capital now effectively falls. So what happens is it leads to loss of competitiveness. This means that a company with fixed rate debt has exposure to interest rate risk, just as a company with a floating rate debt is exposed to interest rate risk. So it doesn't matter whether you have fixed rate debt or floating rate debt. A company, if they have debt, they are exposed to fixed interest rate. They are exposed to interest rate risk. So we'll start with the next risk. It's called as asset and liability management. Fixed interest rate for payments or earnings may have different maturity time scales. Asset and liability management aims to achieve similar duration for payments and earnings. For example, a business has a 10-year loan on a building at a fixed rate of 5% per year. So a company has a building with a 10-year loan and it pays a fixed rate of 5% per year. So now this company, it rents out the building for 6 years at an interest rate of 7%. This is fine for 6 years, but then if the rental yield falls to 4% per annum, the business will start to lose money. So what happens here is the company has bought a building at a 10-year loan, okay, at a interest rate of a 10-year loan, okay, at the interest rate of 5%. So this is their expense, but they also have an income. The income works for 6 years and the income is going to be 7%. So the company effectively earns 2% as their income. For 6 years it is okay, but what would happen after the 6 years? If the interest yield falls after the 6 year, okay, for the next 4 years, if the interest yield falls to something like 4%, the company will negatively earn 3%. So that would be the problem here. So that is called as asset and liability management. So the company has to, so what should the company do? The company should enter into a 10-year lease, okay, at a 7% or at even 6.5 is okay. So the company should effectively enter into a 10-year lease 10-year lease at an interest rate of 6.5%. Okay, so that what would happen is the asset liability is now matched. A safer option would have been to match the loan period to the rental period. So that's what we discussed just now. So the next risk is called as gap exposure. Gap analysis is based on the principle of grouping together assets and liabilities which are sensitive to interest rate changes according to their maturity dates. Two different types of gaps may occur. A negative gap where the liabilities are higher than the assets. So what happens is a company has both the interest rate asset and the liability which is based on an interest rate. So sometimes the liabilities are more than the assets. So if the interest rate goes up or down, it hurts one part of the equation a lot when compared to the other. A negative gap occurs when a firm has a larger amount of interest sensitive liabilities maturing at a certain time or in a certain period than it has interest sensitive assets. The difference between the two amounts indicate the next exposure. So you'll have like this: the company has 10 crore of loan and the company also has 5 crore of investment in debt, okay, in bonds or something. So in net effect, what happens is now they have a 5 crore of liability mismatch. So this liability mismatch becomes the gap exposure. So the gap exposure is negative because the liability is higher when compared to the asset. So this leads to an exposure of a higher amount of liabilities compared to the assets. But you can also think in this term. This helps in the netting of the asset and liability. The company doesn't need to take an hedging for this and a hedging for this. Okay, they don't need a hedging for 15 crore. They just need a hedging for the 5 crore because only the 5 crore is an unhedged position. The 15, the 10 minus 5, okay, it is like naturally hedged. The other 5 alone has to be like hedged externally. So that is about the risk exposure. A positive gap where the liabilities are lower and the assets are higher. So the liabilities are lower and the assets are higher. In that term, it's called as a positive gap. There is a positive gap if the amount of interest sensitive assets maturing in a particular time exceeds the amount of interest sensitive liabilities maturing at the same time. So even if a company wants to hedge this position, they can still hedge, but after netting both these numbers, they can hedge the remaining amount. So we look at another risk which is called as the basis risk. It may appear that a company which has sized matched assets and liabilities and is both receiving and paying interest may not have any interest rate exposure. For example, a company has a 5 crore worth of loan, okay, and they also have 5 crore of investment, okay. So both these positions are hedged, okay, and there's no gap exposure. But the problem he says is if they are not going to be like having the same maturity dates, okay, if they are not going to be having the same maturity date, then there's going to be a problem. For example, the 5-year loan for 5 years, okay, and the 5-year investment is for 15-year investment. Now will the interest rate for both the loans, for both the instruments, will they move in the same place accordingly? The answer is no. However, the two floating rates may not be determined using the same basis or benchmark. So one can be in LIBOR, okay, the other can be in Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate, MIBOR. So the loan can be based on one reference rate and the investment can be based on another reference rate. For example, one loan may be linked to 1 month LIBOR and the other might be linked to another 6 month LIBOR. So even though it is going to be the same LIBOR, okay, the duration can change, the duration of the loan can change, and that can be a problem. So we'll still look at what is basis risk. So if you look at this diagram, you will see that this is a blue color line is a 1 month LIBOR and the green color line is a 6 month LIBOR. So you might clearly see the blue line to be different than the green line. The blue line is somewhere here, the green line is somewhere here. So everywhere you look, the blue line is always lower than the green line. So even though assume that and this 1 month LIBOR is a loan and the 6 month LIBOR is the asset, so you might see that the loan interest and the asset interest will not change exactly. So if you put that the loan interest is 5% and the asset interest 8%, okay, so suddenly they change, okay, so what happens is the loan interest rises by 2%, it adds by 2% and it becomes a 7%. But here also we can't expect the same 2 to be added, somewhere it can be added by 3%, so this might become a 11%. So it's not that they will change exactly as the same number, they might change with a different number and may give a different answer. So even though you are like your asset is equal to your liability, your interest rate asset is equal to interest rate liability, this is matched, so there's no gap exposure. Even though there is no gap exposure, as the loan interest rates are in different maturity times or they have a different reference rate, they will not change in the same manner, thereby might not offer you a hedge. You can reach me at my website wowacademics.com, or you can also see my Quora answers. I am active in LinkedIn and in Facebook page, so you can visit at these places. If you just type Shyam Prasad and Wow Academics, you will get all these links in Google search itself. And if you like this video, give a like, share to your friends, and if you feel that any points we have missed in this video, you can post it. We will try to give an answer to you in the comment section itself, or we'll also create another video for you. So thank you for watching our video.